Okay, let's unpack this. You're a leader. You've been doing this for years, maybe even decades. You've got the track record. You've delivered. You should feel, completely solid.
But then it happens. Maybe it's late at night or you're facing a brand new kind of problem and that little voice starts up.
Oh, I know that voice.
Yeah. The one that says, was that last win just luck? Do I actually know what I'm doing here? Am I a leader or am I just really good at, managing tasks?
That feeling, that deep uncertainty, which we all just kind of label imposter syndrome. That's what we're diving into today, how to actually use it instead of, letting it run the show.
And we've got a fantastic new article to guide us. It's from Phoenix Performance Partners, and it really reframes this whole idea. They argue that doubt isn't proof you're failing. It's actually proof you're on exactly the right path.
So our mission for you today is to really get why that doubt is a sign of growth. And more than that, to give you some practical ways to make that shift, to go from being the expert doer to a genuine people developer.
It's all about what the researcher Liz Wiseman calls rookie smarts. I love this quote from her. She says, "Rookie smarts isn't an age or an experience level. It is a state of mind, available to those willing to unlearn and relearn."
It is also a choice. I love that last part. It's a choice you make.
It's a choice you have to make every single day.
So let's start with what the article calls the identity tension. This is really the heart of the whole thing, isn't it?
It is. I mean, think about it. Why did you get promoted in the first place?
Because I was good at my job. I was a great individual contributor. I got things done.
Exactly. You were the best at doing the work. But
Yep.
the moment you become a leader, your job flips like
Yeah.
180 degrees. It's not about you doing the work anymore.
Right. Your job is now to grow other people who can do the work, to build thinkers.
And that is not a one and done switch. It's this
Right.
this constant daily choice. The temptation to just go back to what, to what feels comfortable.
It's always there,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
when a crisis hits, right?
Yeah.
Something's on fire and you think, it's just faster if I do it.
Yes. That's the first trap, the crisis. Or the second one, which is just pure efficiency. It is always faster in the short term to do it yourself than to teach somebody.
And that pressure is real. But there's a third one the article mentions, a more insidious one.
The need for validation. When you feel that doubt creeping in, you want to prove your worth with something you can actually see. A finished report, a polished slide deck.
Something tangible, because that gives you a feeling of certainty. And certainty feels good. It feels safe.
It's addictive for high achievers, but developing people, I mean, that's all about ambiguity. You have to let them make mistakes. You have to accept that their solution might not be your solution.
And that ambiguity is what triggers the self-doubt all over again. It feels incredibly risky.
It does. Now, the article is very clear here. It's not talking about that crippling, paralyzing imposter syndrome where you think you're a total fraud.
Right. This isn't that.
No.
Yeah.
This is about skilled, competent leaders who are also smart enough to know they don't have all the answers. It's a moderate, conscious doubt.
And when leaders don't manage that feeling well, they tend to fall into one of two traps.
The first one is, well, it's the most common. They just hide it. They put on a mask of total confidence, pretend they have all the answers.
Which, of course, just kills any sense of psychological safety on the team. Nobody wants to admit they're struggling to a leader who seems perfect.
It creates so much distance. And the second trap is maybe even worse. They retreat into the weeds. They start doing their old job and their new management job.
The path to total burnout. And you become a massive bottleneck. Nothing can move forward without you, so the team never, ever learns to stand on its own.
Exactly. Neither approach works. Faking it isolates you, and doing it all just burns you out.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. This is the big refrain from the article. The idea that self-doubt isn't a bug. It's a feature.
It's a complete paradigm shift. There's research that shows leaders with a moderate amount of self-doubt are actually more effective than the ones who are supremely confident all the time.
So why? What is that feeling of doubt actually a signal of?
It's giving you three really positive signals. The first is that you're in a learning zone, not a comfort zone.
Right. If you feel totally comfortable, you're probably just coasting, you're not growing.
You're not stretching. That feeling of, uh-oh, I'm not sure about this, that's the feeling of growth. It's strategic discomfort.
I like that, strategic discomfort. Okay, what's the second signal?
The second is that you haven't confused your competence with omniscience.
Being all-knowing, yeah, that's a huge trap.
It is. You were promoted for being smart, so you feel this pressure to have every single answer. The moment you can say, I don't know, you open the door for your team to help find the answer. You stop being the bottleneck.
It's also just exhausting trying to know everything.
It's completely unsustainable. And the third signal is that your focus is on growth, not on validation. You're not just trying to protect your ego by looking perfect, you're actually oriented toward getting better and helping your team get better.
It makes me think of that Arthur C. Brooks quote in the article. He says, the worst thing is to give in to imposter syndrome, but the best thing is to lean into it.
Use it as fuel. That's the key. You consciously acknowledge it, and then you choose to use that energy for something constructive, like learning or connecting with your team.
So let's get really concrete. If I'm a leader and I'm choosing to lean in, what does that actually look like day to day? How do I stop managing tasks and start developing people?
It really comes down to the mode you're in. Task management is transactional. It's all about what needs to get done right now.
Checking the box.
Right. Whereas people development is transformational, the question is bigger. It's who are my people becoming?
I think the language examples in the source are so powerful here. Like, you can immediately tell which mode you're in.
They're so clear. So in a one-on-one, the task manager asks, did you finish the report?
Transactional.
Yeah.
Done or not done. But the developmental version is more like, what was the trickiest part of that report for you? What did you learn putting it together?
Totally different conversation. The first one is about evaluation. The second is about learning.
Or the feedback one. Let me just show you how I would do this.
Ugh, yes. Which is basically saying, my way is the right way. But the developmental leader says, talk me through your thinking here. Why did you choose this approach?
That puts the ownership right back on them. It forces them to articulate their own logic. The long-term impact of that is just massive.
It's huge. But you can't ignore the speed trap. Doing it yourself is always faster in the short run. And when you feel that self-doubt, that little voice is screaming at you.
Prove you're valuable. Produce something now.
Exactly. And that voice pushes you right back into the weeds. The real work of leadership is resisting that urge and asking the bigger question. How can I build a capability today, not just complete a task?
Which brings us to the place where all of this either succeeds or fails. The one-on-one meeting.
The classic one-on-one, which, let's be honest, is usually just a glorified status update.
How's Project X? Any blockers? All task-focused stuff. Important, but it's not development.
No. To shift modes, you have to ask questions that signal that their growth is actually the top priority.
So instead of just status, you could ask something like, what's really challenging you right now? What's pushing you to grow?
Yeah, or looking forward. What's one skill you're really trying to build this quarter, and how can I help you with that?
And the really brave one.
The ultimate litmus test. What feedback do you have for me? How am I doing at supporting your growth?
And you can't just ask that question. You have to be ready to hear the answer. The article really hits on this crucial emotional layer.
It's everything. You can have the perfect script of questions, but if your tone is rushed, if your body language is defensive...
It's all for nothing. Your team will just smell it. They'll know you don't really want to know, and they'll give you the safe answer, nope, everything's great.
Exactly. This requires genuine curiosity, not just performative coaching. You have to actually want to know the answer.
So how do you get there? How do you cultivate that genuine openness?
One of the most powerful things a leader can do is just be human. To model that it's okay not to be perfect. You share your own learning edges.
Right, you show them that you're a work in progress too, which gives them permission to be a work in progress.
So instead of projecting this aura of, I've got it all figured out, you might say something like, I'm really working on balancing the big picture strategy with staying on top of the details. It's a real struggle for me sometimes.
That is so much more powerful. Or when someone asks a question you don't know the answer to, your first instinct, driven by that doubt, is to hide it, to bluff.
Right, but the better move is to say, that is a great question. I honestly don't know the answer right now. Let's figure it out together.
That changes the whole dynamic. It's not you, the expert, and them, the student. It's a partnership.
Your team needs a real leader way more than they need a perfect one.
So let's give everyone listening something they can do this week. The article lays out a really clear, actionable challenge.
Okay, it's a 3-part practice for your very next one-on-one. First, start with development. Don't start with the task list. Open with a growth-focused question to set the tone.
Okay, start with development. Second,
share your own learning edge. Be a little vulnerable. Talk about one specific thing you are trying to get better at as a leader.
and third,
Notice your emotional tone. Before you walk into that room, just check in with yourself. Are you actually feeling curious? Or are you feeling rushed and defensive? If you're not in the right headspace, the whole thing falls apart.
That self-awareness piece is so critical.
It's the foundation.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, what is the real reward for doing all this hard work?
It's this beautiful paradox that the article ends on. The less you try to prove how competent you are by having all the answers, the more competent you actually become as a leader.
Because you're finally doing the right job.
You are. You're creating the space for your team to thrive. And that self-doubt, it stops being this thing you have to hide. It becomes a superpower. It keeps you humble, it keeps you curious, and it keeps you focused on what really matters.
So what does this all mean? It means that feeling of uncertainty isn't a stop sign. It's not telling you to retreat. It's a blinking yellow light telling you you're in the growth zone. That's exactly where your team needs you to be.
Absolutely. The goal is not to get rid of self-doubt. It's to change your relationship with it, to turn it from something that drives you to be defensive into something that inspires you to be developmental.
That feeling is just evidence that you are still making the choice to grow. So maybe the question to leave everyone with is, what new ambiguity will I lean into today?